won't great won't be able to join, so I will record for the rest of folks. But I think we have the majority of folks here, so let's get started. So we really have the pleasure to have our mentor Daniel Ho. He is the BD leader from BuyTrade Lab, and we'll talk about insights on Web3 product design. So a quick intro. So Daniel is, I would say, true tech innovator, right? Have a lot of rich experience in AR, VR, Web3, of course, but also on over-the-air, OTA. So so today's session, we will have Daniel to walk us through his insights, and there will be deck for around 45 minutes. And at the end, we will have 15 minutes time for Q&A. So I'm sure everybody is familiar with Zoom. You can raise your hand. We can figure out that later. But if you do have specific questions, or you have any requests, you can feel free to send a message to me, so I can take it at the end. So without further ado, Daniel, let me make you as a host so you can start sharing your screen.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here we go. Do you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. All right. So thank you for Haiti and also Web3 Report for inviting me. And then it's my pleasure. And then to start with, I would like to briefly introduce you guys about the BuyTrade Lab. We are a new brand, and then we are a new crypto lab. So we define ourselves as we define ourselves as the Web3 infrastructure innovator, builder, and enabler to return data ownership back to users. So some more information about us. So we are headquartered in Singapore, and then we are backed by SIG Asia Venture Capital Fund, and some other traditional VC, and also as well as some crypto funds in the space. We closed our 40 mil Series A funding last year, and then our focus is mainly to identify or to incubate and invest in early projects of Web3. And in the meantime, we also build ourselves, and the product or the thing that we're building is a Web3 operating system based on a new infrastructure that is blockchain edge node client. And apart from this mega incubation project we have, and then as mentioned, we are actively investing and incubating in early stage Web3 projects. We not only give the projects the fundings, but we also would kind of like offer some other resources, such as technology expertise, product definition, business planning, go-to-market strategies, and some other resources in the space. And here is the sort of the portfolio that we have. So we have invested in last year we invested majority in DeFi, so that we have Ladder, like the decentralized NFT AMM, and also we have KDX decentralized perps, and Coda, which is also a decentralized option vault, and I think they raised 11 million from Binance Lab last year. Besides that, we also invest in Metaverse and also a wallet, soft protocol, infra, and that's it. And a little bit about myself. So I am the business lead at the BuyTrade Lab. Despite the fact that I'm the BD function right now, I have been, product manager for over 10 years. So I've been involved in different startups and also growing a company in the areas of AR, VR. So we were kind of like the early pioneer, like that AR project. We were kind of the early pioneer to get into the space. And I was also building or involved in OTA and also AI. So I kind of like like have been in touch with different areas as product manager and also marketing manager. So yep, that's a little bit of the background of myself. And yep, and then and in this session, I don't think I will be going into like details of product design and then how to make wireframe and then how to find PMF. I would more likely to share with you some of the kind of the understandings and also thoughts from our lab towards the Web3. So perhaps I would just kick off this by asking everyone here that what is Web3? So does anyone have any like kind of like responses or answers to these questions? Wait, that's weird. Somebody raised their hand. Oh, wait, so everyone's muted here. Anyone would like to share their thoughts to that question? What is the Web3?
Yeah, you can raise your hand at the end of the screen.
Well, all right.
Or you just paste your question, or yeah, I think Olga. Let me.
Oleg has his answer.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, guys. Nice to hear you.
Yes, I can hear.
And thank you so much for that session. Yeah, about the Web3, in my opinion, this is the new era for the internet because everything will be transparent and there is a difference if to see the history of Web 1. There was just the websites and the people just can read the content. The second, like the Web 2 coming when the people can start interacting with the content. And Web 3, it's like when everything is transferable and you can see all transactions and your wallet is like the key. And instead of using the email or instead of using the login and password, people will start using the wallet and they will do everything with their wallet, and the wallet will become as like digital signature with all infrastructure inside, include the soulbound tokens, for example, for KYC transactions and etc. etc. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Yep, I think that's a great answer. I think we have consensus here. All right, Heidi, would you mind to give me the permission to share my screen?
Yeah, 1 second. Yep, there you go.
Thank you. Right. Yep. So yep, I think Oleg has the very good answer to this, and then I think we do have make it to a consensus that Web 1 to Web 3 it's been evolving, and then on the surface it's just like the different types of login, and in Web3 people would think that it's just like to connect your wallet, that means the Web3, but the overall thesis is that I would say from Web 1 it's more open, and then people can own their data, and Web2 it's not possible, and Web3 it's kind of like users regaining their power to own data. So I think that the main key words for Web3 would be decentralized, user-centric, and return data ownership to user. So if we take another, look at the Web3 or the involvement of the internet, we can see that, all right, so internet started off with the innovation of protocols. So we have, HTTP, SMTP, TCP, IP, all these protocols enables the early internet. So in the early internet, everything was kind of like peer-to-peer, different users and the protocol services, they are kind of interconnected to each other. In the early internet, so if you were, say, what a user A were to send an email to user B would literally have to download in a sort of like a relay or middle server in order to read his email. So at that point, everything was, users could read, write, and own the data, and every data was kind of like you have to save locally. So internet was open, transparent, and protocol kind of like governs the rules and also the law and order. So, however, this peer-to-peer structure would not be able to support or sustain the mass and fast internet. So when it comes to, like the Web2, we have like a major breakout of user number, like it grew from a few, thousand to perhaps like right now, billions of people. And at the same time, the application itself is becoming, more diversified, in a way that it's not just, the text or codes. It became more, sophisticated than the previous, than earlier. So it actually emerged the company platforms. So the company platforms would be the structure of user client and company platforms was created or was kind of the result of division of work in order to adapt the mass and fast internet. So in company platforms, we have developed a server and database, kind of like, Facebook has a huge server, housing thing. And also users' data were processed by the server and stored in company's database. And this is the Web2. And the benefit, again, for it is that it is suitable or it is feasible for mass and fast internet. And the downside of it is that user would, like have little control or no control to their data because it's stored in company platforms. And this is what we see in nowadays Web2. And next, in the emergence of blockchains and smart contract, we kind of like regain the decentralized solution of it. So the decentralized network, it's kind of similar to the previous structure, whereas the smart contract act as kind of the server, whereas blockchain act as the database. And this new decentralized network and solution enabled users, internet users, to regain their data and to kind of like no centralized party would be able to control users' data. So this is actually the major breakthrough point to the internet history, I would say. However, when we compare this company platform and decentralized solution, although smart contract is kind of working similarly to the role or way that server does, and blockchain is similar to database. We can see they are not at the same level. When we look at the user base, DAU, TPS, and the variety of applications, we can see this is a big, very big difference between these two solutions. And company platform ecosystem, we can see it's like huge and robust in a way that different people can find different needs. Whereas the decentralized solution, no matter whether the user size or the variety of the applications, it is niche and financial centric. So by comparing these two, we can see that, okay, so blockchain has really, the combination of blockchain and smart contract has really introduced us the imagination of regaining our data ownership, and it has indeed created a decentralized internet of assets. It's mostly the cryptos and stable coin. So it's a decentralized internet of money. However, when we talk about application wise, it is unable to fully support the transition from Web2 to Web3. There are two main reasons or aspects of it. One is that although there are a lot of development in blockchains, such as the layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, or ZK rollup, we can see that it's still less likely to support the application level of data to be owned by the users. So because the application, it requires data intensive and compute intensive capabilities, and the current and evolving blockchains simply it's less likely to meet that requirement. And on the other hand, is that smart contracts are less likely to satisfy the various real life needs that users enjoy nowadays in Web2. A lot of the smart contracts can perform, texts, numbers, however, and some, files perhaps. However, in terms of perhaps like the AI, like nowadays ChatGPT is really a hot topic right now, but blockchain or smart contract, they cannot perform AI or videos, this kind of thing. So again, blockchain, we think that blockchain has created this decentralized internet of assets. However, if we were to, if Web3 is more than just like money, it's more about every day-to-day data that users create and own. Blockchain is simply unable to fully support the transition. So what is our vision of Web3? So we believe that the Web3 consists of two parts. One is decentralized internet of assets. The other is decentralized internet of applications. And they are equivalently important, imperative to users. So it's not just the money. It is also about, perhaps your text messaging or your videos or your daily, in-app activities. Those application data, they are also imperative to users. And if we were able to make those, users would again control, own those data, that would be the Web3. So how do we achieve that? We can see that blockchains have kind of created the decentralized internet of assets, and we believe that if we were to have the decentralized internet of applications, self-hosted nodes would be imperative. So what is self-hosted nodes? So for those who perhaps like not familiar with this, it's kind of, if we were to put it in a very, very short description, it is your personal AWS. So it's fully controlled by you, and it has several key elements such as DID, computing capability, and data storage capability, so that when each users interact with blockchain, either blockchain or centralized server, this self-hosted nodes, it is acting on behalf of the user client. This is the concept of self-hosted nodes. So self-hosted nodes, it can have, like software, decentralized applications running on top of it. It can run, layer 2 applications. It can store users' data locally without compromising to server or to blockchain. So
Hey Daniel, we actually have a
Yep.
question.
Yeah,
Someone
okay.
asked what actually are the disadvantage of using it?
Of using, you mean self-hosted nodes, or
Yeah.
all right, disadvantage of using it? I think if we were to really to try to find out a way to regain our, the ownership of our internet application data, self-hosted node would be the solution for it. The disadvantage of it would, the extra cost perhaps for it. Would that
Yeah.
be? Yep. But the fact is that I think for most of the Web3 native perhaps decentralized apps, we are kind of like adapted to the logic that if we were to use the service, we would have to pay. It's similar to if we were to make a transaction on Ethereum, we have to pay gas. So I think if we were to, if we are truly concerned or sensitive of our internet application data ownership, and then I think, yep, I think some extra cost would be worth.
One of
Uh,
the advantage,
yep,
disadvantage. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Sorry, you can just share your screen again. Yeah,
yep,
I was at the meeting someone.
yep. So again, by introducing this self-hosted nodes, we can see that like it can perform with higher TPS because it's kind of like a small little server that is completely controlled by you. So it can run data intensive and compute intensive applications. In the meantime, it can decentralize more real life applications that satisfy different needs. I will explain a little bit more in the following slides. And again, I think what we are trying to say or argue is that we believe that self-hosted nodes would create a decentralized internet application, which would be contributing to the Web3. And together with the self-hosted nodes, users would be able to read, write, and own more data again. So yeah, Damus is a really hot in right now, and then I think this would be a good example how, self-hosted nodes could become a contributing force in order to have your own internet data. So by having these self-hosted nodes, you can turn your self-hosted nodes as one of your relay, and your family's daemons, they can all connect to this relay, and the message, the tweets or the messages you send would be you would be able to store your message and tweets in your local relay, which runs on top of your self-hosted nodes. And interact with the other daemons or other, parties that is based on Nostrum. So this is one of the example of, having this. So the benefit of having, like running your own relay onto your self-hosted node is that, again, your message, your tweets are stored in a piece of a machine that is controlled by you. So that's a very, that's the idea of gaining, your internet application data. And the next slide is the possibilities in the future, or bring up the imaginations of what, self-hosted nodes can do in the future. So imagine bringing up the concept, the layer 1, layer 2 concept of blockchains, and have it on, say, Notion, YouTube, or Slack, and even, ChatGPT. And if you were able to run layer 2 applications on your self-hosted nodes, such as ChatGPT, and then it will only analyze your local, it will have the access or capability to analyze your locally stored data, and then give you, recommendations or answers that fit you the most without, sacrificing your own data and put it into other server. So that's really the idea of how these self-hosted nodes can be the solution, or can be the way that ordinary users, internet users, would be able to regain their internet data. Yep. So the whole concept, so Terminus is one of the thing that we build or we support. So the whole concept is to create this decentralized network based on self-hosted nodes. So we can see in the future, if to develop this decentralized network, and then people are being given the capability to interact with each other based on, say, blockchain or DID, and then all the applications and blockchains, they are serving the user, and they're serving the self-hosted nodes. And this part, we can argue, or we can say it is truly a decentralized, user-centric, and return data ownership back to user type of Web3. All right, here is an example how, decentralized peer-to-peer instant messaging would be enabled under the self-hosted nodes. So say James and Ross both have the edge nodes, self-hosted nodes. If they were to send instant messaging, so because the self-hosted nodes, it has the compute capability and also storage capability, and each self-hosted nodes would represent a DID, which would be discoverable and identified through the blockchains. So you can see if James to send out a message to Ross, and then the message can be sent to the James self-hosted nodes, and then the nodes can find Ross nodes by utilizing blockchains, and then they can establish this direct communication channel. And afterwards, James nodes can just send to Ross nodes can send to Ross client, and vice versa. And after the initial establishment of the channel, there's no need for either blockchains or centralized server to be part of this network anymore. So this is really the whole demo or the concept of self-hosted nodes. Yep. And then about our ecosystem investors and yep, here are our partners in the space. And then we either we share information, and we also share resources. Yep, that's pretty much it about this brief intro of our thoughts and understandings of Web3, and in particular the concept of a decentralized internet of applications. Anyone has any questions so far? I think we finished early, and then we can jump right into the Q&A. I'm free to take the questions.
Okay, so yeah, Daniel, I'm sure the question don't have to be around, right, Web3 product design, right? We finished early,
Yeah.
so if anybody have any questions just around other topics, feel free to ask, since we have this rare opportunity to have Daniel here. So you can raise your hand at the end of this Zoom control display, and then I will unmute you so you can ask questions. Daniel, I know people are trying to figure out the Zoom setting and stuff. So one of the few popular question
Right.
we have been receiving through the project is what's it's kind of hard to predict the future, right? Like from
Yep.
your perspective, how do you feel about the market right now? Like, do you think it's coming back? Because from Web3 report, we have seen a lot of VCs start to become more interested in knowing different projects and trying to set up costs. So we'd love to hear from your perspective on what's your view on that?
Right. I think there's definitely a bounce of in the market. And then I think last year it has been really a devastating kind of like moment for the entire industry because of the different incidents. I think it's recovering, but I wouldn't say it's like super fast because it takes time to rebuild the confidence and to rebuild the understanding of the market and also the industry. So I'm overall positive about this market and about this rebounds, but I wouldn't be like too positive, optimistic about saying that perhaps right now it's the bull market. I don't think right now it's the bull market. Yep. So it's good to see investors and startups and also builders are getting the confidence back. I think we definitely look forward to seeing more good projects coming out after this after 2022. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. As a lot of people have shared, right? It's a really good time to be for now, and hopefully not taking long for the market to come back. So Victor does have a question. So he said, thanks for sharing this great content, Daniel. He wants to know where he could get more information about the Terminus decentralized network.
Yep. Actually, I've shared in the last page of my slide. I can share some.
Yeah.
Can you allow me to share my screen without like giving me the post position?
Yeah, let me try to see whether it's possible. Yeah, you should be able to share.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Great. So here's the first row is about ByTrade Lab, and the second row is about myself. So if you would like to, make a connection or contact with ByTrade Lab or me, feel free to text us or pin us.
Great. Yeah, maybe we can just have this slide here so people can have some time to like take down information. So yeah, Victor's project is Nama Finance. I'm sure he will reach out for more about this.
Great. Yeah, last year we kind of incubated and invested in a few DeFis, and we believe that with the hit last year, decentralized finance DeFi is definitely attracting more attractions in the space. Yep.
Yeah.
What application have already?
Yeah. Great. Yeah, so Victor, thanks for the first question. You're definitely breaking the ice. So, so
Right.
Michael has a question. So what application have already been developed on the Terminus OS, and what type of hardware it required to run a self-hosted node?
Right. I think to answer Michael's question is that I think right now the dev team, the RD team is still developing it, and most likely we will have our initial alpha launch at the consensus. So yep, and during the consensus we will invite people to give it a try. And right now, I think in terms of applications, and I think the RD recently deployed or has made this one click to deploy your own Damus relay type of app. So if you were to deploy your Damus relay, it's very simple. It's very simple. And for Oleg's question, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, again. Yeah, what are your thoughts about the real world asset tokens?
To be honest, this is not my expertise. Can you elaborate a little bit about, are the real world asset token? Am I lost? Thanks for your.
Let me see.
Yeah, thank you, Fabi. Yeah, right now I can. Yeah, real world asset tokens. I'm sorry for the noise on the background. Real world asset tokens is the tokens what is backed by real world asset, that's a real estate, precious metals, oil, and etc.
So it's like a rate.
What?
It's like a REITs, REITs, right? It's a security backed by perhaps the housing, right?
Yeah. But right now it's called real world asset tokens, and Vitaly Buterin create the article about it, a really big article that, and he said that we are required for such solution, what will provide the possibility to connect the blockchain to the real world.
Right. I think again, I'm not the expert of this. And then I mean, the first thing that came up to my head is that it would, the regulations, because the rates, it's heavily regulated, and that if like making rates into like token, either fungible or non-fungible, I think it would need the process of adapting it to to cope with regulations. Again, I don't think that's, that has risks. So yep.
Okay. So
Previous question, how to deal with the mass traffic of users on Web3 and the storage if we find it not enough when already deploy smart contract and choosing a network.
this is a really good question, right? About the massive adoptions.
Right. I think is it a RD problem that you encounter at this moment? I think it's more of it's not a general question, right?
Yeah, Steve, you can unmute yourself if you have elaborate a little bit more on the questions. Yeah, I think his question is the current, right? The current blockchain, the storage is limited, right?
Right.
How can we expand that storage to, compared to Instagram versus, right, what we have right now regarding the storage? How can we expand the storage to bring the Web2 user to the
Yep.
Web3 so there's no
Yeah.
barriers?
I think the reason why we think that there should be a decentralized internet of application is based on that. We think that by blockchains itself, and even with ZK rollup and all those layer 2 and sometimes I heard of like people teasing about like layer 3, layer 4, even layer 5. I think there are certain type of data that is hard to be on chain, or there are some sort of like kind of like programs that is hard to be smart contracted. I think one of the example is that the Chat GPT or the AIs. How is it possible to run? Is it possible to run an AI on either way of technological combination of blockchains? I would say right now I don't see a clear path of it, and because of that, I think we need some sort of decentralized internet applications, and that's why self-hosted nodes would be imperative to this, because it's kind of like your your personal Javas running on your behalf, and then it can help you store or compute and output the necessary data or necessary result back to the either to on-chain or to the central party, to the central server.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, so Steve cannot open his mic, but he explained that the question he wanted to ask is the cost optimization for storage in Web2, right, can be handled easily. But how to optimize the cost on Web3 if the smart contract is finished and the number of users starting growing too much compared to the original plan? But I think you have answered his question, right? From what you just
right. I think, yep. I think is it more of, is it the problem? It sounds like a real problem that he might have during building his project. Right.
Yeah, Steve, it's okay. I know you may not be able to unmute, but I think I'm sure Daniel, you're more than happy to connect offline, right? If there's a specific question, yeah, you can feel free to reach out. I'm sure This is the
Yep.
basically the value of mentors. You can reach out with your questions and get their insights. Cool.
I think mooning, right? Mooning about the rates. I think, yep, the Oracle mapping real assets and smart contract transparent real asset auditing. Yep, I think those are the very important elements to any type of real world asset token to be, to be accepted. I think, but I think what I would foresee is that the risk of regulation on rates or this type of, real world asset tokens. So, yep.
Cool. Well, I think we definitely have a lot of interest. We have like 8 or 9 questions already. So Daniel, thanks for answering one by one, and thank you everybody for these great questions. Great. Is there any? I know everybody don't want to be the last one, but is there any last burning questions? Something in somebody's mind? It's a really safe space, so feel free to ask. Okay, looks like we covers everyone's question. So then, Daniel, maybe it's the last question, which we will ask all the mentors. As you know, we select these 25 projects out of 100, so they all have really huge potential to grow. Do you have any advice based on you building as builder at Bytrade Labs? What would your advice, like maybe 3 takeaway or 2 takeaway that you wish you knew when you were building the product?
Right. I think save money, raise money, and move fast.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So that's actually why we're here, right? We will help you guys raise money and hopefully get more VC connections. And then you can definitely have this great network with mentors like Daniel to hopefully move some of blockers and move your project forward. So I think that's it, everyone. Daniel, is there anything last word you want to say, or
I think it's my pleasure to have the opportunity to to share with you guys, and then to communicate and then exchange ideas, and then yep, and also thanks Heidi for organizing and then hosting. Yep.
yeah,
And
thank you.
yep,
Daniel.
and feel free to pin me at the Telegram or Twitter. Yep, and let's build. Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. I will see you in San Francisco. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to
Thank
talking
you.
to you guys. Bye.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.